And the year 1947 witnessed the tumultuous partition of British India, giving birth to two independent nations, India and Pakistan. Amidst this upheaval, the princely state of Jammu and Kashmir found itself at a crossroads. Maharaja Hari Singh, the Hindu ruler of a predominantly Muslim population, opted for independence. However, this stance was short-lived. An incursion by Pathan tribesmen supported by Pakistan forced the Maharaja's hand. He signed the Instrument of Accession to India, seeking military assistance. This act ignited the First War over Kashmir in 1947. The conflict resulted in India gaining control of the Kashmir Valley and parts of Jammu and Ladakh. Pakistan, on the other hand, secured control over Azad Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan. The line of control, or Low C, emerged as a de facto border, dividing the region and setting the stage for enduring conflict. The seeds of discord had been sown, leaving a legacy of bitterness and animosity. The partition's chaotic nature and the hasty decision-making surrounding Kashmir's accession left the region embroiled in a territorial dispute that would define its future. The aspirations of the Kashmiri people, caught in the crossfire of this geopolitical chess game, remained largely unaddressed. This set a dangerous precedent, where the fate of Kashmir was decided by external forces, ignoring the will and aspirations of its inhabitants. The partition's wounds were still fresh, and the unresolved issue of Kashmir became a festering sore in the relationship between India and Pakistan. The stage was set for a protracted conflict, fueled by historical grievances, political expediency, and the unfulfilled aspirations of a people yearning for self-determination. The following decades would witness further bloodshed and diplomatic stalemates as both nations remained locked in a bitter struggle over the disputed territory. The fragile peace in Kashmir was shattered in 1965 when a second war erupted between India and Pakistan. The conflict, sparked by skirmishes along the line of control, escalated rapidly into a full-blown war. Both nations deployed their military might, engaging in fierce battles on land, air, and sea. However, the conflict reached a stalemate, with neither side achieving a decisive victory. The 1971 war, though primarily fought over the liberation of Bangladesh, also witnessed intense fighting in Kashmir. The conflict resulted in a humiliating defeat for Pakistan, culminating in the creation of Bangladesh. The similar agreement, signed in 1972, aimed to resolve the Kashmir dispute through bilateral negotiations. However, the agreement failed to address the root causes of the conflict, leaving the issue unresolved. In 1999, the Kargil War erupted, marking another chapter in the bloody saga of Kashmir. The conflict, triggered by Pakistani infiltrations into Indian-administered Kashmir, resulted in fierce fighting in the high-altitude Kargil sector. India launched a massive military operation, successfully evicting the intruders. The Kargil War, while limited in scope, highlighted the volatile nature of the dispute and the ever-present risk of escalation. These wars resulted in immense human suffering and widespread destruction. They deepened the mistrust between India and Pakistan, making a peaceful resolution even more elusive. The wars also underscored the failure of the international community to find a lasting solution to the Kashmir issue. The conflict continued to cast a long shadow over South Asia, hindering regional cooperation and development. The Kashmir conflict has been a perennial issue on the international stage, attracting the attention of global powers and multilateral organizations. The United Nations, soon after its formation, became involved in the dispute. The UN Security Council passed numerous resolutions calling for a plebiscite to determine the will of the Kashmiri people. However, these resolutions remain unimplemented due to the lack of consensus between India and Pakistan. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation, or OIC, has also been vocal in its support for Pakistan's stance on Kashmir. The OIC has repeatedly called for a peaceful resolution of the dispute in line with the UN resolutions. However, India views the OIC's involvement as interference in its internal affairs and has opposed its mediation. Global powers, including the United States, Russia, and China, have played varying roles in the Kashmir conflict. The US historically has been seen as tilting towards India, particularly after the 9/11 attacks and the subsequent focus on combating terrorism. Russia, a long-standing ally of India, has maintained a neutral stance, advocating for a bilateral resolution. China, on the other hand, has become increasingly vocal in its support for Pakistan, particularly after India's decision to revoke Article 370. The involvement of external actors has often been shaped by geopolitical interests rather than a genuine desire to resolve the conflict. This has further complicated the situation, adding layers of complexity to an already intricate issue. The lack of a unified international response has only emboldened the conflicting parties, making a negotiated settlement even more challenging. On August 5, 2019, the Indian government made a monumental decision. Article 370, which granted special autonomy to the region of Jammu and Kashmir, was revoked. This move, hailed by some as a step towards greater integration, was also met with significant controversy and unrest. The revocation altered the region's relationship with the rest of India, sparking debates and discussions across various platforms. The implications of this decision continue to unfold, impacting the lives of millions in the region. The picturesque valleys and serene lakes of Kashmir have long been overshadowed by the echoes of conflict. The region, once known for its breathtaking beauty, now bears the scars of decades of strife. The impact on the local population has been profound. With countless lives disrupted and communities torn apart, it's a stark reminder of the human cost of unresolved disputes. Amidst the turmoil, there have been numerous efforts to chart a path to peace. Diplomatic negotiations, ceasefire agreements, and grassroots initiatives have all played a role in seeking a resolution. Yet the journey towards lasting peace is fraught with challenges. It requires not only political will, but also the active involvement of the people of Kashmir, who have endured so much. One indispensable element in the peace process is dialogue. Open and honest communication between all parties involved is crucial. This includes not just the governments of India and Pakistan, but also the voices of Kashmiri leaders and citizens. Their perspectives and experiences are vital in shaping a sustainable and inclusive peace. The legacy of conflict in Kashmir is a heavy burden, but there is always hope for resolution. By learning from past mistakes and fostering a spirit of cooperation, there is a chance to build a future where peace and prosperity can thrive. The resilience and determination of the Kashmiri people are key to turning this hope into reality.